Dear publisher, this is a day in my life, and if I got a deal for you. Currently on the bus, heading to the only coffee shop. It has an outdoor patio that I can sit on when it rains. I got a deal for you, publisher. Alright, dear Grace. There's been a lot going on in this episode. I'm going to read another chapter of a book. I'm going to beg to publishers. I'm going to beg to you. Just beg to everyone. Back to the money issue. Dear publisher, I got a deal for you. My life story and all of my stories. $1 billion. Now, if that's too rich for your blood, I understand. But not a lot of book publishers have $1 billion lying around. Ironically, though, top 52 comedians in the world do have I think the comedians should buy my story, but selling it as is, unedited. Every movie idea, every app idea, every story, every podcast episode, everything except for Pastor Dave. The moment I created Pastor Dave Forward, it's not really for sale. I'll give you another option. Publishers. Instead of $1 billion, which by the way, most of it is going to charity. There's 99%. But whatever. I'm just saying, as a publisher, you might like or appreciate that publicity. Of course, if the comedians do it, they become the biggest book publisher in the world, as well as saving humanity. Women's spot screws. Doing the old man shuffle on the Starbucks patio, Grace. Only people on a Starbucks patio in the rainstorm. Old, lonely men. Alright. Here's an alternative. Book publishers. I'll sell you everything. We'll do the old royalty deal. But I need $5,000 a month for the next 11 months. And an editor. If you look at anything I write, speak, whatever, I don't edit. Because I believe that's the purest form of communication. However, I realize most people are uncomfortable with the direct and raw nature of my voice. So I need an editor. Give me an editor and I'll take everything I've written over the last 5 years and somehow combine that into one book. Somehow being with the advice of the editor. So $5,000 a month and an editor. And by the end of the year or sooner, you have a very interesting book about day in the life of Dave, retired autistic senior, became a pastor, preached the word of the Lord without knowing it. They're just bullshitted, like most pastors. Or 1,000 people could give me $5 a month. Because they're probably already laughing at this. Not paying me, it truly means I'm getting screwed up the wazoo. But whatever. Whatever. Alright, Grace. And, publisher. Grace, publishers, comedians, who the fuck's listening? Instead of reading my words, publisher, I'm going to read someone else's words blind the first time I read them. This is to show you that I know how to read. Can't really show you that I know how to write because if you look at all my writing, it's a bit rough. To be fair, on purpose, not on purpose, just pure laziness. Why edit if nobody reads? Waste of fucking time. Chapter 4, The Reach. I used to be afraid of failing at something that really mattered to me, but now I'm more afraid of succeeding at things that don't matter. My first real job was at Lair's Greenhouse Restaurant. It was a fantastic glass building designed to look like an arboretum. It was the Crystal Cathedral of fine dining. Each table was set inside its own wonderful ornate white gazebo, and there were dozens of them. The crystal was perfect, the china was delicate, and the waiters were coiffed, and formal in their black tuxedos. Coiffed, I don't know what that fucking word means. I'm supposed to impress the publisher by my knowledge of the dictionary. Instead, fuck 2 pages in. Cummerbunds and bow ties. I applied to work at Lair's. I imagined how great I would look in a tux. I would memorize a menu, make every prom date or business dinner flawless. I also imagined myself counting my pile of money from generous tips. In order to become a waiter at Lair's Greenhouse, I had to start as a busboy. Worked my way up. I did pretty well, I guess. But then again, how can you screw up cooking dirty dishes? It was hard work, but the thought of being a waiter someday made it all worth it. As a busboy, I learned that tables enveloped into white gazebos while creating a stunning atmosphere. Make for some tight and hard to maneuver situations. Maybe I can't read publishing. But if you give an idiot a book deal, that's a good story, no matter what. Give me a deal, and I'll get you so much publicity, you won't know what to do. Just be fucking printing books and money left and right. It was hard work, but the thought of being a waiter someday made it worth it all. As a busboy, I learned that tables enveloped into white gazebos while creating a stunning atmosphere, make for some tight and hard to maneuver situations. By the time I got to the tables to pick up dishes, everyone would be gone, and I wondered how the waiters navigated that reach. On my 1-year anniversary, the maitre d' pulled me aside and said I could buy my tuxedo and become a waiter. I was at the tuxedo shop the next morning as soon as it opened. When opening night came for me and I had my first shift as a waiter, I was so excited I could barely eat. I sprinted out from my small apartment and grabbed some quick Mexican food around the corner because they wouldn't let us eat the food at the restaurant. I rushed back and slipped on my tuxedo for the first time, just trying it on the store. The tuxedo was expensive, but I knew I'd earn enough in tips over the next month or two to pay for it. I had to put down half the money when I bought it and had agreed to pay off the rest of the payments for my new waiter job. I intentionally lingered around the apartment complex where I live, just long enough for everyone living near me to see that I indeed had a tuxedo with a ruffled shirt. I left it to their imagination to figure out how special I was. I hopped into my thrashed VW bug, drove to the restaurant, and parked around the corner to make sure no one saw me pull up in the VW. I wanted to have that 007, my other cars at Aston Martin look. The night was cloudless. You could see the stars through the glass ceiling. Cinderella wouldn't have been out of place pulling up in her carriage. There were twinkle lights all over the gazebos. It was like Christmas in July. The whole restaurant had a new feel to me, like I'd been an understudy in a play and now was walking on the big stage as the lead. The maitre d' escorted my first guest to one of the elegant gazebos in my zone. He looked like a wealthy doctor and his business guests. They were each starched and tidy, and each guy actually looked like he could be the Surgeon General. The women looked like they had stepped off the cover of Vogue. The woman sat down as the gentlemen slid in their chairs. As soon as the men were settled, I put napkins in everyone's laps, blah blah blah. Given the speech, I'd rehearsed a dozen times in my bathroom mirror with my toothpaste and deodorant and listened. I told them about the many incredible choices they had that evening for what would certainly be the best food, best service, and most remarkable dining experience of their lives. In a word, I promised that the evening would be flawless. I placed their orders and after a short time came back to the gazebo with the steaming plates. All seemed to be going well until the unthinkable happened. As I was making a big reach across the wide table, I felt this massive grumbling somewhere south of my stomach, down as deep as one could imagine. There was no time to react. At the pinnacle of my full extension across the table, I played a prime rib. Out came the most impressive and lengthy gassing you can ever imagine. Hardly had time to regret the Mexican food I'd eaten earlier. This was terrible in its own right. What was more remarkable is that it went on forever. I could have sounded out the alphabet if I had gotten my hands back there, but no amount of butt tightening would put an end to it. As an author, I would never talk about butt stuff. I'm much more refined. As I finished my episode, looks of absolute shock from my guests came. Into focus. I think I heard a woman scream. It certainly caught the attention of the surrounding tables. A hushed silence descended on us all. And I just stood there, paralyzed, holding the prime rib high over the table. I didn't know what to say, and I was afraid that any movement might set off an aftershock. Finally, one of the men got up, threw the napkin I had placed in his lap on the table, and walked straight to the maitre d'. With punishing accuracy, I saw him describe what just went down, acting out my full extension as he stood on one foot and leaned over across an imaginary table. The sound he tried to recount lacked a certain bass tone and texture, but overall I think he got the general idea and duration right. I was fired on the spot, no kidding. My cummerbund in one hand and my bow tie in the other. I walked back to my VW bug. With my head hanging low, I sat in the front seat, took a deep breath, and wondered what I was supposed to feel at a time like this. On one hand, I just destroyed a year's worth of work. I was in the waiter spot, playing in the minor leagues, bussing tables. And when I finally stepped up to the plate in the major leagues, I swung as hard as I could and hit the umpire in the back of the head. I don't know how I could have messed up any worse, to be honest. Yet, on the other hand, I had a story for the ages. A story I could someday tell my kids when they thought they had made a big mistake. I took another deep breath and felt this huge grin spreading across my face. The grin was almost happening to me rather than me making it happen. As I drove home, I recounted the events from the last hour or two. I thought about my now useless tux, the guests, the order, the infamous extension, the gas, the screams, the firing. I can't lie. I knew even then that it had indeed been an amazing, if not flawless night. My grandmother, Grandma Mary, used to tell me, "You're nothing until you've been fired once or twice." She didn't give any disclaimers for how you got fired, so I assumed her adage still applied to me. For the next 6 months, I made payments on that tux until I dropped it off to Goodwill, and I never tried my hand as a waiter again. The thing I love about God is He intentionally guides people into failure. He made us born as little kids who can't walk or talk or even use the bathroom correctly. You have to be taught everything. All that learning takes time. Time and money. I plan on having a lot of kids. So $5 a month. $5 a month or my children will starve. I try guilt. I will starve, my children will starve. Cats and dogs in the neighborhood will starve. Birds will starve. Basically everything around me will just starve. And when you come and visit, you'll just see a whole zone of death. A bunch of people starved. The whole thing's designed so we can try again and again till we finally get it right. The whole time, He is endlessly patient. I love those passages in Scripture where Jesus teaches the disciples something, saying, I want to teach you to think differently about life. They walked with him for years, and some of them didn't learn everything they needed to know until after he'd gone back to heaven. Yet, even though they were slow to learn, they still referred to themselves as his beloved. Failure is just part of the process. It's not okay. It's better than okay. God doesn't want failure to shut us down. God didn't make it a 3 strikes and you're out sort of thing. It's more about how God helps us dust off our soft skin so that we can swing the fences again, and all this without keeping a meticulous record of our struggles. By the way, publisher, I don't just read God's shit. Just a coincidence. I found another job eventually. Eventually I lost that one too. I lost it because I chose to that time, not because I was fired. Finding things and losing things is what the Bible is all about. God even seemed to encourage it. He talked about losing your job or even your life if you want to find it. He talked about losing your status to find real power. He shows that Jesus comes looking for us because people like sheep. Because people like sheep, have a knack for getting lost. When he finds us, we usually aren't dressed in a tux. Ha ha ha. Things that go wrong can shape us or scar us. I've had some things go well in my life and some things gone not so well, just like you. More have gone well than have gone poorly, but I'm not trying to keep score because I have a different way I measure things now. God finds us in our failures and our successes. He says that while we used to think one way about things, now he wants us to think another way about those same things. And for me, I've realized I'm used to being afraid of failing in the things that really matter to me, and now I'm more fixating on things that don't matter. End of chapter. Alright, Grace. I think I'm going to read some news. I'll try. Chinese scientists achieved breakthrough in quantum computing with Zhaoxing Zhangjiang 2.0. 7 short books that leave a lasting impact on your life. Could be 8 short books. The publisher would get off their ass, or the comedians would get off their asses. Their friends and family would get off their asses. Short books that quietly change how you see life. Number 1, 4,000 Weeks. Time Management for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. For Mortals. 2, The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday. Wintering, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times by Catherine May. Do Nothing, How to Break Away from Overworking, Overdoing, and Underliving by Celeste Headley. Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. Lasting lesson: you're not weak for feeling overwhelmed, you're human. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. Lasting lesson: being gentle with yourself is a form of strength. Canada government updates advisory for travel to the United States. Problematic. Mark Plyer's Iron Lung removed from box office charts. Returns making 7 times its budget. Stop meeting students where they are. New Westminster Police will start using drones. It wasn't working. Canada province ends drug decriminalization. Shanghai scientists create a computer chip in fiber thinner than a human hair. World's largest particle accelerator begins warming thousands of local French residents. The internet keeps telling you to 3D print these. Don't. Cable clips. Hand tools. Rebar chairs. Storage containers. New CRA tax changes in 2026. You need to know right now. I don't think it's going to affect me. Amazon is selling a modern 2-story tiny home with up to 5 bedrooms and a sleek sliding door. Moltbot is an open source AI agent that runs your computer. Moltbot runs your computer. I'm starting to wonder how many of these articles are really written by people. I don't think they are. West Vancouver landlord ordered to pay $38,000 for wrongful eviction. 5 most influential Fujifilm cameras of all time. 2 CBP agents identified in Alex Preddy shooting are from South Texas. World-leading quantum physicist Yo Changlong leaves U.S. for Chinese Research Institute. $99,000 smart observatory captures the cosmos with Canon optics. A 5,000-year-old inscription reveals the terrifying brutality of ancient Egypt's colonial expansion. By Canon suddenly re-releasing an old camera in 2026. Got a lot of cameras in my feed, Grace. Scientists share designs so you can make your own 3D printable e-flesh for robots. 15 years later, this Rachel McAdams time travel movie is still one of the best takes on time travel. Big changes are coming for USVs in 2026. U.S. Marine Corps developed first 3D printed drone with no China source parts. Ukraine hails real results after Musk restricts Russian Starlink use. Canada is building a surveillance network in space. Exactly what Canada needs. There's so many problems with surveillance. Ancient DNA reveals 12,000-year-old case of rare genetic disease. Kennedy Center will close for 2 years, Trump says. Letter, greenhouse light pollution affects people, animals in Metro Vancouver. Greenhouse light pollution. Still something weird about that one, the whole greenhouse light thing. Samsung confirms groundbreaking Galaxy S26. I got S7. God damn it. Not a single fucking person would send me a fucking old phone. $773,000-year-old Moroccan fossil pinpoint a critical moment in human evolution. The 1,000-year-old disk that failed, the weird history of M-disk. A parasite carried by billions has a secret life inside the brain. Toxoplasmosis. Punch baby. Recommended by Microsoft, fully integrated and optimized for Dragon speech recognition. Canon's camera business grew last year. Alright, school's out, Grace. It's gonna get noisy. A whole bunch of bratty junior high kids and spending their parents' money at lunchtime. Tim Hortons, Burger King, Subway, Wendy's, Pizza, McDonald's, A&W, I'm at Starbucks. Alone on the patio, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions. Soon it's gonna be full of teenage girls laughing and chattering. Of course. I'm gonna record for you, Grace. Let's listen. Find out. NASA begins loading rockets. Rocket with propellant in crucial test ahead of blah blah blah. The greatest opening line in sci-fi movie history remains undisputed. And it is, what is it? I know him, but like I don't know. Breaking the habit of being yourself. Why change starts in the whatever. Canon pricing reveal RF 14mm, 7 to 14mm, and limited G7 X3. I got my daughter Galaxy S25 FE. Now I'm questioning why. The latest Android Color E-Ink tablet is coming for your laptop. Frozen Niagara Falls draws captivated tourists. Neanderthals and early humans may have interbred over a vast something. Yeah, that's it, Grace. Any ideas how I can make $500 a month? I'm listening. Ironically, I probably wouldn't be a bad editor editing someone else's shit. Just can't deal with my own shit. Grace.
It's a good chicken nugget. It's a good chicken nugget. No.